So how big is the push for Western separation, really? Joining us now to discuss it is Eric Adams. Eric's a professor of law at the University of Alberta. Joining us now from Edmonton. Eric, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Glad to be here.
So Alberta is introducing this Bill 54, on Tuesday, making it easier for residents to trigger a referendum. What we heard from the Premier is it's not necessarily a referendum on separation. She's saying you're getting ahead of yourselves here. But are you surprised to see that the conversation directly goes to the possibility of a referendum on separation?
Well, it's certainly been in the political water in Alberta, I can tell you, for the last little while, and particularly during the campaign. Some very high-placed individuals, Preston Manning among them, said that Alberta's got to consider all its options. If the Liberals get re-elected, that's what happened. So there's some highly placed people discussing Alberta separation. How plausible is it? I think that'll remain to be seen.
Yeah, well, that sort of brings me to my next question. Constitutionally, what would be needed to trigger a split from Canada?
Well, just the beginning is a clear majority of Albertans voting to clearly separate from Canada. So that's the starting point, but just the starting point, because the Supreme Court of Canada has said that just triggers negotiations with the federal government and every other province. Now you're sitting around a table and you're trying to bang out a long, long list of issues. National parks, Indigenous peoples, borders, currency, you name it. There's going to be an incalculable number of issues that will come up when you try and break up something as interconnected as the country of Canada.
And one of those issues that's already come up here in the form of a letter, Indigenous chiefs in Alberta accusing Danielle Smith of stoking separatist talks, asking her to stop doing that, essentially in their letter saying, listen, this is our land, the agreement that we have put in place with you, it goes forever, and this isn't, you don't have the right to move forward on that. They have the claim, they have the Indigenous claims of sovereignty. How might that play into that conversation?
We don't quite know. The last time Quebec came close to this conversation in the 1990s, it's certainly the case that Indigenous issues were on the table, but not as front and center as they would be today. Our jurisprudence has changed a great deal over the last 30 years. And so the Supreme Court of Canada, I think, would take a different view of the role that Indigenous peoples have to play in any kind of separation talk, separation project. In my view, they would have to be at that table with negotiations if we even get there in the first place. That's a long way away.
Yeah, there was an Angus Reid poll that found 3 in 10 Albertans would want to separate from Canada if the Liberals were to win. Historically, can you point to a time where the desire to split from Canada, from the province of Alberta, has been greater than it is now?
Well, I will say this. I mean, if you watch the Edmonton Oilers win Game 6 tonight, you'll see about 18,000 fans belt out "O Canada." So that'll give you some impression of where we stand as a community. But this has always flickered on the edges of Alberta political culture. There was once even an MP who was elected on a separatist platform in the 1980s. It comes, it goes. But, saying that, look, we're going to separate if you don't elect the government that we like. But if you elect the government we like, we're proud Canadians. If you don't, we're ready to leave. It's not quite a serious political movement, in my view, that is on the precipice of succeeding.
I feel like from the way you said that I'm talking to an Oilers fan right now. But let me ask you this. BC Premier David Eby called Western separation. And of course, remember, BC is on the coast. He called it a waste of time and an attack on unity. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's certainly going to take up a lot of political oxygen. It's hard for me to imagine how a province that complains about being landlocked is going to solve that problem by becoming a landlocked, independent country. But it may be that there are thoughts in the conservative political movement that talk of separation may strengthen the bargaining hand as Alberta negotiates a number of policies with the Carney government. Is this just a distraction, or is it a helpful political movement for conservative forces? I think any kind of instability in our political conversations right now just plays into American hands and destabilizes an economy that might face a lot of headwinds in the next 6 months. So let's hope this is short-lived, would be my view.
That's University of Alberta Law Professor Eric Adams joining us from Edmonton. Thanks so much for your time.
Go Oilers.